Hey, 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 it is Friday, February 10th, 2023. Here we are on the West Coast, 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it's Friday. And you know what that means? Another installment of Success Never Sleeps with me, Brannon Beliso. I am an industry disruptor, whether it's the martial arts, the food industry. I don't care. You put it in front of me, I'm always looking for better ways to do things. But really, I think what makes it disruptive is that I really search what is your vision. And that's what makes you unique, right? And I don't think we trust that process. That's why we tend to simply latch on to somebody's process of running a business or latch onto somebody's methodology using, ready-made blogs, things like that. Because you're afraid to tell your story because with social media, we know how that goes. There's always somebody ready to shoot you down, right? That's why every time somebody posts a technique of them doing martial arts, mm, someone's ready to hop in there and tell them their form sucks and that won't work. And believe me, there's tons of those people in the world. That's just who they are, right? So you have to be okay with that. And you have to still step up, stand on your box, and sing your song. So that's what I love about working with people like Marco at Focus Martial Arts, Jason at Believe Martial Arts, Virginia at Journey, on and on and on, is when they discover who they are and why they're here. The empowerment that comes with that is just phenomenal, phenomenal. And at least, you know, they say if you aim for the stars and you miss, you're going to land amongst the heavens. And those stars really are your own personal vision of what it is you want to do with your life. Who am I or anybody to tell you what you need? But what I love as a mentor, for the lack of a better word, I love that process of self-discovery, of drawing it out, of nurturing it so you are confident enough to write a social media post, write a blog, rebrand your school, move your school, do the different things. We often stand paralyzed because we think there's no way better than the way we were taught by our instructor, no way better than the so-called expert is going to tell you to do. But it's your life. Who's a better expert on your life other than you? Tell me who, right? So I just want to be super mindful of that. Okay. Let me welcome everybody who's here. Bob, what's happening? What's happening? James, Letitia, some Facebook users. Journey. What's up, Virginia? If I sound a little congested, it's because I am. I am. I got a stuffy nose yesterday. I don't feel bad. I'm just, got a stuffy nose. So I've been muscling my way through classes yesterday and today, and it's so powerful. Hey, Paul, Hazel. I miss you guys. I love you guys. Hello from Mexico. Who do we have tuning in from Mexico? Monique. Monique. What's happening, Monique? Hello from Mexico. Who do we have from Mexico joining us? Is that family? I am family. Are you guys in Mexico? So again, hey, Master Nam, what's up, sir? At Prestige Martial Arts. So again, that's just where my head is. I find I am a very strong-willed person. I have a very clear vision. I have the ability to execute that. And, as things shift, um, I find great joy in the simplest of things because I'm so confident within myself because I do that work. And so whether I'm cleaning the bathroom at the school or I'm teaching a kickboxing class, I'm working with a 3-year-old, I have me. And I'm very clear why I'm here and to impact children's lives to, as we get into today's subject, how to find your second, we're going to go deep on that. Hey, Jim and Connie, you're in Mexico on vacation? That's a good day, right? Jim and Connie, you guys are on vacation. I'm so jealous. I wish I was with you guys. Oscar and Michelle in New Mexico. Hey, Oscar and Michelle. What's the name of your school, guys? Let me know. Zenith Martial Arts. Courtney. I get to see Courtney at It's Time Live Boston. So let's bring that one up, Marco. So we have that coming up in April. It's an all-day event. I think what's really cool about It's Time Live Boston is that we will go through how to set up your business financially. We just changed one of our locations over to an S Corp. We're always mining that data because tax laws are always changing. What's the best way to position your business to be profitable, right? Manage your budgets, all the rest. We're going to go through systems. We're going to go through curriculum. We're going to go through staff development. We're going to go through content, telling stories. We're going to go through some personal development. We're going to try to touch upon everything because my goal is not to get you to think like me. My goal truly is to get you to think like you. But do you know how to think optimally? And that's where the inspiration comes from. So it's Time Live Boston, April 23rd. Marco will post the link there. Get signed up if you're on the East Coast. That's my only East Coast visit, and I'm grateful to do that. Cool. All right, so let's thank our sponsors. Who do we have? Of course, as always, we have Tucson. This is one of our newest sponsors, and I want to talk about that a little bit. The Kang family reached out to me, particularly the son, Gunny Kang, and he said to me, "Hey, man, you've been referring a lot of people, and your impact in the industry is huge. I think it would be a really great thing for my family and your family to partner up." And I said, "Yeah, absolutely, absolutely." So they opened in 1993, probably about a mile and a half from my dad's karate school in San Francisco. So my father was one of their first clients. That's right, one of their first clients. So I feel very blessed. They're getting ready to do a bunch of different things. I can't share what that is right now, but if you're looking for martial arts uniforms, that they're very strong in that. They've supplied our uniforms for years and years. I mean, years, our belts, things like that. And now we're looking at other projects with them to cultivate for other parts of the industry because they're very well known in Taekwondo. They supplied uniforms to the Olympians, many of them. And so that's pretty cool, right? So if they can bring that Olympic spirit to martial arts and kung fu and BJJ and other industries, I really believe we might have a winning match, good partnership. So I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful to announce that I am now partnered with Tucson. More than a or an influencer, a brand ambassador or influencer, what I'm doing with them, I believe, is something special. So, if you want to do business with them and if you work through me, I'll vouch for you. I'll go to the mat for you. If something's not right, I already told Gunny, I said, I will come knocking on your door because we know nothing's going to be perfect. It just never will. There's not a single relationship in this world that's perfect. And we know through the pandemic with supply chains, God, our challenges with FedEx and UPS and goes on and on and on, that it's really important we have the strength of a relationship to see ourselves through the difficulties. But I will promise you, and I know that's odd to say because I'm not big on making guarantees, I will say I will go to bat for you. I will. I told Gunny I know where you live. And he just laughed at me. Hey, what's up, Respect Martial Arts? Ooh, Collingwood Martial Arts. I like that. Super, super cool. Grateful that you chose to be here. Legacy Mixed Martial Arts. Yeah. Oh, I love that name. Cool name. And then, of course, Market Muscles, my studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting. We have a Market Muscles website. We use my studio as a CRM system. We use Kids Love Life Skills for our life skills program. And I use LC Accounting, my sister Letitia, for my bookkeeping, budgeting, everything. I tell people all the time, she's more than my bookkeeper. She's my sister. And she really looks out for me. But I'm going to tell you, you do her right, Letitia will look out for you like you're her brother or sister. And that's a fact. And that's what I love. Um, so as we talk today about how to find your second, I want you to write this down. Everybody write this down. You have the ability to create a company that people want to work for. Okay? I mean, behave like the big boys, right? Like an Apple, like an Amazon. Have competitive pay. Have a 401k retirement. Have some type of medical benefit or medical siphon. Have vacation with pay. And above all, create a unique culture, which is what you can do with a small business. You can have the yin and the yang, this really personal family business that can do so much, right? We can't do everything the big companies do, but we can meld the two together. And I think that's often a huge disconnect in our industry is we're always busy getting 10 new students. We're always told to develop staff, have a leadership club, that type of program. But we're never really taught the psyche of how to nurture those relationships, right? To get to that point where someone's going to look you in the eye and say, I want to do this for my life. Okay. So write that down because we have the ability to do that. And I think we tend to err on the side of your family if it's convenient. But if it's not, and a push comes to a shove, I got to cover my back, my bills myself first. That's a very bad business model. And it's not you against them. It's not Big Brother against the team. It's quite the opposite. That's why we are one martial arts. We're one people, and we want to behave that way. So little things in your everyday action. Call yourself out on this. Now, we have no offices in our school or things like that. But how many of you change with your team? I do. And that's super important. The dialogue we have when we're sitting there together in that dressing room talking, afterwards talking shop is powerful. It's just simply powerful, powerful. So to offer your team that sense of equality, that sense of transparency and authenticity is really important. I'm going to tell you why. Because often your second is somebody that came up through the ranks, right? They came up through your ranks, white belt, they were a kid. That there has to be some point they're no longer looking at you as teacher and student, right? And I do this intentionally. They're not looking at you as student and teacher. They are truly looking at you as an equal. So they can feel that sense of autonomy. They can feel comfortable coming to you with challenges. They can feel comfortable implementing new ideas and even more comfortable with taking the reins. You know, if I do well, my team creates ideas and systems and things that I'm not even aware of because they teach every day. They do every day. So when I see my second come across the wire at Slack with a new system or a new file in Dropbox or in Google Drive, I'm just like, yes, yes. And he runs it by me. He says, check this out. What do you think? But the fact that they take the incentive to do it on their own without being told what to do and managed, that's really where you want to get. Because if you're second, who's going to replace you, your second, who's going to do everything that you do, think about it. They have to have that sense of confidence to act without having to bring everything to you. Because I'm the owner, right? So keep that in mind. I think we're in a very unique position because we are small enough where we're a mom and pop. It can really be a family business. But if we're going to keep that person, then we need to behave like the big boys. You with me? Okay. So if you have a question, put it in the comment. Ivan. Hey, Ivan. Who else is aboard with us? Put it in there. And if you share this with somebody today, right? If you share this, and you know, this is my gig. If you share this with somebody and post it at the end of this broadcast, we're going to give away one for Boston. How about that, Marco? Let's give away one of the spots for Boston because we can. We absolutely can. And I know Bob's going to be there. I look forward to seeing you, Bob, and giving you a hug. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, how do you find your second? Okay. Data has told me time and time again. I've worked with martial arts schools as far as England. I'm working with one in Switzerland, Canada, Australia, all over the United States. Your best bet, you know, in 90% of the cases, your second is going to be somebody who came up through the ranks. That's it. That's it. I mean, we've hired outside. We have a couple of great kickboxing instructors, or you know, some great staffing. But my second is somebody who came up through the ranks. How many of you have somebody in your business that you believe is your second that came up through the ranks? Put it in the comments. Trying to read this. It's a little small. I don't have my glasses on. Hey, Master Raymore. What's up, sir? Okay, so how many of you have a second, or it could be your potential second, that has come up through the ranks? Anybody? Okay, good. We all like to think so, right? I got one there. I like to think so. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Two potential. Very good. So, on your part, as the visionary, as the architect, you need to see it. As soon as you see it, as soon as you see it, begin doing everything you can to invest in that relationship. Okay, my guy is TJ. Everybody knows TJ, right? Everybody, right? That's been in my school. Everybody knows TJ. Okay, so I got TJ from another school when he was 8 or 9, somewhere in there like that. And he came up through the ranks. And then, you know, just by default, because I was an idiot, I didn't have systems in place yet. I didn't really have a team. It was just me and a bunch of 14-year-olds. And TJ was one of them. But what I did recognize in TJ at 14 years old was his deep sense of loyalty. Now, I know that's not a big deal. And people think in today's world, you know, the average person since the pandemic and the great resignation has worked 3 different jobs. Okay. And that's a fact. If you resign during the pandemic because you're part of the great resignation, does everybody know that? The great resignation? Put it in there if you don't, and I'll go a little deeper. And so the average person has worked 3 jobs since the great resignation. Now we know here, because we're the big tech capital of God, probably the world, Google laid off. Apple's pretty solid, but Shopify, Amazon, Twitter, Microsoft, they're all laying off. Google laid off. And people are just very disenchanted because all the tech companies are selling culture, culture, family, culture. You're not an employee here. You're a Googler, right? They even gave that sense of mystique. And now that things are happening like this, they're just getting emails telling them they are fired. That so that's why I'm saying we have a very unique position to nurture relationships early on. That's the point I'm trying to make. And if I have to look back on what I did well with TJ, is the minute I recognized, it had to be about 14, the minute I recognized that he was a great martial artist, but what TJ had was the loyalty. And I saw that. But he was always very honest with me. He was always very clear at most times. And I bridged that gap, and I'll get to that point. So I do encourage, if you have the second within, that you're doing everything you can to wine and dine them. Yeah, well, they're young. Who knows where they'll be when they're 18? Who knows what they want to do when they're 19? I want to influence that as much as possible. Okay? So keep writing this stuff down. Keep writing it down. So I remember at one point when we were growing the business, it was after a sparring class. TJ was sitting against the bags, kid about 14, 15. And I looked at him and I said, "Sir, this year I will take home $160,000. I just looked at me like, "Oh, okay. I'm too busy, social media and stuff like that." But, I planted a seed. And then when he was about 17 or 18, I took him to Chris Ruth or Ruth Chris, whatever that's called, steakhouse. And we spent about $400. And we're eating this dinner together. And I said, "Sir, why do you think I brought you here? What is the reason for that?" He says, "To show me that it's possible to make great money in the martial arts." I said, "Yeah. When would you ever have thought it was okay to put down $400 to eat dinner between two people?" And he looked at me and says, "I would have never thought that, sir, at all." Because he comes from a very modest upbringing, as did I. So, and then every step of the way, I've mentored him, and I've always said, "Sir, I want you to come aboard full time." And he's 14, 15, 16, 17. I've always nurtured that relationship toward that direction. Okay. So TJ goes to college and he still decides to work for us. Right. And that was cool. So he's in college. I'm going, "Wow, sir, how do you like that? Da, da, da. Mark Zuckerberg never graduated from college. Steve Jobs, da, da, da. Yeah, this guy didn't graduate from college. They're entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs do this. Look at me. Look at my home. I have this $2 million home. Look at the school. It's $1 million. This is what I took home." My books were always open. So if I'm going to encourage one thing right now, is open your books to your second. How many have your books open to your second? Go. And now where TJ's at 30 years old, we have him on monthly or weekly, I'm not sure, with Letitia. We're going to educate him on the true numbers of the business, right? He thinks we did 1.85 million last year. No, we have rent, payroll, insurance, incidentals, the whole 9 yards, monthly. So Letitia sits with him monthly. And that's part of his education because next he will profit share. Next he will buy into the company, right? I'm 61. I don't want to do this forever. Next, it'll become where he has most of the ownership. And I'm just more like I sit on the board, right? I sit on the board and that'll be my role. And I'll always have this residual income. And then when I die, that residual income will roll over to my wife and eventually it'll be all his. And that will be the game plan because I want to take care of my family when I'm dead and gone, my wife. And so it will all be written. But see, that's something unique you can do with a mom and pop business. You can design that. And as long as I take care of him along the way, he'll be more than happy to do that. Okay. So he's in college. I keep grooming it, right? He's watching me grow, right? Because he was with me in 2001, 2002. Then when he saw me break $1 million in 2007, we're having these really big company parties, great meals, all this stuff. We're having people, yeah, goals, man, goals. You got to have those goals. But you have to internally know, damn, who is this guy? Who is this girl? Who are they? What makes them tick? How do you connect? I always use several stories. One was when TJ was at a tournament and he lost and he's crying outside and I'm comforting him, right? That was a time. Another time when Mr. Jones passed away and we're sitting in our 7:30 black belt class, just me and the team, and we're just crying like babies trying to train. We talked about another time when the team member left us hanging and we're trying to do this remodel in one day, literally over the weekend. And we're pushing this big cabinet up the stairs. So I have all of these watermark memories to help infuse the why of what we do. Are you with me? Ours is live your best life. And no matter how challenging a situation may be, we have learned collectively to live our best life. And that's why when we came into this pandemic, nobody panicked. They went like this and they all looked to me for the type of leadership that they knew. Okay, we'll get to that. Letitia, have those numbers ready because I want people to know this. This is super important stuff, right? Yeah, we're helping TJ become an entrepreneur. See, remember, at the time when he was going to college, he's thinking of getting the BA, going into the business world, and working for somebody. I'm trying to convince him that work with me, not for me, work with me. And one day, this company you will profit share in. One day, you're going to own this company. How cool is that? So he got an AA. And then he decided, this is what I'm going to do. Right? So he's what, 23, 24. We have Millbrae 8 years now. I think someone just posted it. They were wishing me happy 8th anniversary in Millbrae. And so when TJ said that, I said, okay, well, here's the reality. The reality is I can't pay you what you deserve on one school. So we're going to open a second school. But mind you, okay, stay with me. I had already positioned myself where I wasn't teaching at all because I was anticipating through my grooming, through my nurturing, through the $400 dinners, through look at how much money I made, to da 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 da. I was looking at all of that. That when he gets his AA, he's got to either look at, well, am I going to do 2 more years of this, or I'm going to hop in feet first over here with Professor. That's what that came down to. Okay. So when he hopped in feet first, I was already scoping out second locations. It's God honest truth. And one of them, I take my kids to this little gym where the Millbrae location is now. And I would tell my wife, this is the one. This is it. This is it. This is it. And so, um, I'll answer that question in a minute, Master Raymore. Just stay with me, everybody. And so I immediately mobilized, and that's what TJ saw. You have to do what you say you're going to do. Write it down. Tattoo that freaking thing on your forehead. I cannot tell you how many people sell pipe dreams to their second, sell pipe dreams, and then they don't follow through at all. And when they don't follow through at all, they become defensive, they backpedal, and all of a sudden, I'm the master again. You're the lowly student. How dare you question me? Stop it. Take ownership. How many of you have done that at least once before? Come on. At least once. Stop it. It's a great way to lose your team. And so, with that said, once he made that decision, we went full on to Millbrae. Millbrae was 285 in the first year. By the end of year 3, we're at $1 million. Okay? Now, so once TJ's involved, now we want to create another second for TJ, which is Lucas. Lucas is TJ's second. Lucas pretty much runs San Francisco. I did a black belt test back in December, and I was testing people for black belt I've never seen. And there was a couple of kids testing for black belt that had been there 7 years. So that tells me I haven't taught in San Francisco for the better part of 7 years. And that's the truth. And that is an earmark of a great business. But backpedal. I need to stay close to the team. I need to be somewhat present once in a while in San Francisco. And I have not been doing that until recently. And I will continue to do that to nurture that because San Francisco's hovering around 850. I want it to be back to $1 million. So it's going to take a certain amount of, finagling and marketing and things like that. But we're not far off because you figure if we get 50 students in San Francisco at $200 a month, that's what? 50 times that's 10,000. 10,000 times 12, there's 120,000. So if we're at about 850, you had 112, we're at 970. And that other 30,000 we can make up in camps and things of that nature. You with me? Everybody with me? That's just simple numbers, okay? So we will get San Francisco back to $1 million, right? We will. And Millbrae's well over $1 million because we have a built-in after-school program. So we're trying to get Lucas aboard, all right? And me and TJ are having lunch in the food court of Tan Fran. And this is one of the stories I share with him. He's sitting there with me talking, and he's on the verge of tears. But before we got to tears, I said, hey, how do we get Lucas aboard? How do we get Lucas to commit to want to do this? And he said, I wouldn't tell our brother to work for us. What? I said, but you chose to do it. Well, I understand an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is great risk, but with great risk comes great reward. Da, 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 da. I said, well, enlighten me, young man. Tell me what it would take to get Lucas to work for us? He said, well, sir, we need a career package. Write it down. Career package. Write it down. Anybody else coming aboard? I haven't said hello to you yet. I love it when new people come in, say hi, tell me the name of your school, share this, and you'll be in our digital drawing at the end of this broadcast, and you might win a ticket to It's Time Live Boston, okay? It's Time Live Boston. All right, so enlighten me, young man. He said, number one, competitive pay. I think the big challenge in our industry, we don't really have a clear metric for what we should pay people, right? We say, well, the average fitness instructor gets this, a personal trainer gets this, a teacher gets this at an elementary school, right? I mean, it's so vast. I could work in the public school system and be making this amount, or I could be working through a private school system making this amount. So it's apples and oranges. What it really comes down to, because again, we are still a mom and pop, right? Mom and pop, you with me? We're still a mom and pop where we can really look at the individual and say, what do you need? What do you need? What would it take for you to want to commit to doing this, right? What would it take? Because that's a good measure. Hey, what's up? Alyssa, Rockland Academy. All right, Rockland, Ontario, Canada. What's up, Alyssa? And thank you for commenting a lot. I know you like my posts and you comment on that, and I'm very grateful for that. It inspires me to do more, Alyssa. So I thank you. And so, number one was a career package, competitive pay. Really think about where they are, because I don't give a crap what a personal trainer and elementary school teacher makes. It's what we believe that second is worth. It's what we understand what that second needs, right? What do they need? Okay, so then I said, well, tell me more, young man. He says, well, then we also need some type of 401k, because any great company has some type of retirement. All right, we have a safe harbor pension plan. And if you want to know more about that, talk to Letitia. She'll fill you in. You need to have that. What's up, Jason? And so I said, tell me more. And then medical benefits. Now, we don't have medical for everybody. We give them a medical siphon, okay? A medical siphon. So whatever the medical is at Kaiser, we pay for it. But they could do what they want. Like, TJ has a medical siphon. I don't know if he's using his wife's insurance or not now that he's married, but that money is still his. I would never take that money away from him and say, wow, you could get on your wife's insurance now. I would never do that. Never, never, ever. Because that's, I think, the other thing you don't want to do is, unless it's a huge crisis, do not give something to somebody and take it away. Write that down. That is even worse than making a false promise you never fulfill. What's it called? Stipend. Thank you, my sister. Stipend. Good. I'm grateful, Alyssa, that it's helping grow yourself. Yeah, and I'm really big on that too. If I'm not growing emotionally and spiritually and mentally and physically in my business, then I created the wrong business to begin with, Alyssa. That's what's unique about my business. I don't work because each time it's an opportunity, because things don't happen to me, right, Alyssa? They happen for me. It's a great opportunity for me to grow and become a better person. And that makes the money just gravy, right? Just gravy. And that, I think, is one of the reasons why we grow, why we don't have to run Facebook ads and any of that stuff. I know people think we're nuts. We're some weird kumbaya tree hugging California people. No, we're very smart business people. But we do understand if we can create this amazing culture, it organically grows. Talk to Team Martial Arts, Wade and Amber Taylor, who are on my wisdom program right now. And they're going, wow, we're not really running ads and stuff, and people just keep coming through the door. Well, because you're doing the right things. You're bettering your curriculum. You're taking care of your team. You're creating the Disney experience, on and on and on. Cool? Okay, so back to the story. So, hello, Professor. Who is that? Who is that there? It just says Facebook user. All right, so medical benefits. Of course, vacation with pay. Okay, so let's go through that. Competitive pay, right? A 401k, right? Medical stipend for those who qualify. Vacation with pay. But this is the big one. And this is where we as a family business can be in such a unique position, people, is really staying in tune with them about whatever given point in life they're at, what dream it is they want to fulfill, right? What is it that they need? What is it that they want? Okay. Now, TJ and Lucas are two different animals right now. Lucas is still, doing things, figuring out, he's learning the ropes through his brother. They're creating this business. Now I'm going to go deeper in a minute. I'm going to go deeper because there's a lot of reasons why this family has stayed with me for the better part. I mean, his mom has worked with us for almost 20 years, and all three kids, TJ, Lucas, and Carrie Ann, have been with us since they were students, and all three work with us. Okay, stay with me. Why? Because culturally, I am a family business. I grew up in my daddy's school. We lived above it. My sisters and I were thick as thieves, and I understand the power of a family business. But I also know the shortcomings, right? But I can gratefully say in my relationship with Letitia, which for a while we were a little astray, we weren't as close as we are now, but through, and I love you, Tish, through bringing her aboard in my business, I discovered what an incredible person she is. I know I'm going to cry, my sister. I didn't know that was going to happen. I discovered what a special, special, amazing soul my sister Letitia is. And she has saved me many times over through the pandemic. She's helped guide me when I really want things, and she's advising me against it, but then she works with me and she helps makes all of that happen. And she's a godsend. So that's probably one of the greatest things about a family business. When Tisha came aboard, I don't know, 4 or 5 years now, Tish, um, I discovered. I don't say it a lot, huh, Tish? I don't let her know that enough, but and I tell her that, but this is a different variation. She's just so amazing. And what she does, not only for me, but the clients she works with is phenomenal. It's just really cool. And I thank God every day for that relationship. So the investment also is one day TJ's mom is going to retire from her job, and then she's going to be working admin for us. Lucas will be working with us. Carrie Ann will be working with us. So they now will have the family business that I have, right? My wife does kickboxing. Letitia works with us. My sister Michelle, who does admin, has been with us 15 years, right? So my wife's cousin teaches kickboxing. Her kids are on the way to black belts are in our instructors in training program. See, so do you see where I'm going with that? But none of it is sustainable unless you create this company that people want to work for. One of the things I did last year, and I'll just do it now. I haven't gotten around to writing my little letter, but I revamped Kids Love Life Skills. And I said to Marco and Amy, Letitia and Ben and Chris, who are pretty much the backbone of Kids Love Life Skills, here's where we're at. I'm going to profit share with you guys. At the end of each year, we'll pay all expenses and whatever's there. Marco and Amy gets 10%, Letitia and Ben gets 10%, and Chris gets 5 because he's one person. So we did okay last year. We got a long way to go. But Marco, you got a check in the mail there, sir. Might pay for your mirrors. I don't know. And Letitia and Ben's got one, and Chris has got one. And that's my promise to them, right? And even though we don't have things in writing yet because we're still trying to figure that out, I still made a commitment. And see, that's the huge difference. And ask Letitia, when I said that to her, we need to address that. I'm sure she perked up because I'm not just someone who talks. I'm a person of my word. And when we had this discussion last year as a team, right in the beginning of 2022, I told them this is what I would do. And I'm doing it. So Letitia, get everybody their checks and make sure they watch this part of the show. Okay. They get their profit sharing for the year through Kids Love Life Skills. And so after that, then we hit the pandemic. Okay. And here we were. So the smart thing to do was to lay off the majority of the employees. But what we did do was the core team, TJ, Lucas, Michelle, Karen, Carrie Ann, Dexter Fiddler, Paris Bender, my sister Letitia, all of us. I kept them on full salaries. Now, even with the ERC and the PPP and all that stuff, that was a huge challenge because we lost 250 students. Times that by $180. How much income did we lose? Anybody know offhand? How much is that? Because this is one of those aha moments. So let me put $180 times 250 students, 45,000. 45,000 times 12 months. Yeah, see? Okay, you see that number there? 540,000. So if we're going to lose that much revenue, right, which paid part of the payroll, and now the ERC's paying the payroll and the PPP's paying the payroll, who's going to give up this money? Any idea? Yeah. So yeah, we got $500,000 for SF and Millbury, which pretty much took care of payroll. But here we are at 540,000. Where does that money get made up from? Okay, because we lost that money and we still had to pay payroll because I wanted to keep these guys going, right? So the PPP, ERC all helped that out. Because our payroll is what, Tisha, about 350 a year? What's our payroll now? 350, 400, somewhere in there, right? If your payroll's not up around 33%, 35% at most times. Yeah, thank you, Letitia. This came out of my pocket. Listen to me. This came out of my pocket. In 2019, you add 160 to this. What do you get? If you had what I took home in 2020 was $160,000. That's a huge hit. But the reason I was able to do this was one, Tisha's a magician, but two, we shored things up. You know, I have other things that I draw revenue from too. So I think that's the comfort that I enjoy that I didn't know I really possessed until we got hit with something hard like this. So if there is a recession and it's looming, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Yeah. So my payroll's about 350K. How do I know all these numbers, Letitia, without looking at stuff? Tell them. Tell them. And this is this is what I try to teach as an entrepreneur. How can I call off these numbers and know? How do I know all of this? Put it in there. Anybody? Because I do know my numbers and years of experience. I know the ebb and flow. I look at my bank accounts every day. That's why Profit First is a big one, but I think what we had was that blind faith through the pandemic. We even got a $5,000 grant from Facebook. Tisha was looking under rocks, peeling back wallpaper. We were doing everything, right? Do we hide money in the cookie jar? Whatever. We were just digging deep. But look at the hit I took in 2020. Now this year, what am I going to do? What did I do in 2022, Letitia? 550 or something like that. So I took home 550 in 2022. And I share that with you openly. I may not be the guy with 8, 9 schools pulling in 4 million a year. When he's done with payroll and stuff, he's probably making 800,000, not much more than me. But the big difference is I share this with you because you and me are the same. No matter what financial position I'm in, I still suffer through financial hardships. I still deal with people quitting. We lost 3 key people. We lost Miss Harvey, we lost Mr. Law, and Kim Law during the pandemic. Key people, key people. But that meant I went back to work, which was fine. God said you need to come back to work because the team needs you. And I led through that pandemic. But I also had a very clear vision at 160 a year at that pandemic year that if I shored up this team and I took care of them, that all these people getting laid off, all these people, going through this flux, these guys would be more loyal to me. You with me? More loyal to me. And they all got full salaries during the pandemic. Now, what else did we do, Letitia? The average person has gotten a 25% raise since the pandemic. Yeah. Well, there you go. Right? TJ and Lucas both got a $20,000 raise, 10,000 at this, 10,000 at the end of month 12. So they each got a $20,000 raise because I want to shore these guys up. I want them to invest. Okay. But it's also, what's it say? She's reading too. Just read, Letitia. But during the pandemic, we did pay all the bills and your family. Yeah. See, that was the cool thing. Is even in this pandemic, my family didn't even know. The only person who knew was Letitia and I. I would never burden my wife and kids, any of that with hardship, right? Because that vision worked. I'm not going to stress out my wife. I want her to buy whatever food she wanted, whatever she needed, whatever freaking Instagram ghost pitch and Shopify, Instacart we were doing in the pandemic, whatever the kids needed, tutors, we had private basketball coaches in my freaking backyard, working out my kid. Happy wife, happy life, happy wife, happy life. Because I needed to come home and be at peace. And I wasn't going to stress out my family. I just simply wasn't. So that's I think is something that's hard to quantify, you guys, is my sense of leadership. It really is. And so now, again, and I save this because this kind of stuff inspires me. So TJ has his own dreams, right? TJ has dreams just like all of us. And TJ's dreams, number one, was to get married, right? And buy a house. So it's kind of neat because he married a girl, Camille, who was my sister Lisa, God rest her soul, was her favorite as a kid. Check it out. TJ's wife, her mom was my sister Lisa's best friend. TJ's wife's husband and I used to compete together. And now he teaches for us periodically. So the whole family thing is a cultural thing for us. And we feed it, and we feed it, and we feed it, and we feed it. Right? So please be mindful of that. I didn't just pull these. I'm just a rabbit pulling a rabbit out of my hat. So maybe you can't see that. You may see that. What's it say? That was from TJ. Thanks, sir. I wouldn't be here today without you. Wow. And I read it, I read it when I'm having a rough day. But he sent this to me the other day because here's what's transpired. So during the pandemic, both TJ and Lucas bought homes. I'm proud of that. TJ decided to have a destination wedding in Hawaii, and we closed the school for a week. Unheard of in our 22 years. We have never closed the school, right? Yep. Yep. And we'll talk about that, Tish. I'm going to cover that in a minute. And so we went to Hawaii. Yep. We closed the school for a week. Talk about saying, I value you. And the whole team can go to Hawaii, right? And many of us did. We went to Hawaii. And the beauty of that, TJ is now one of the best friends of my nephew, Drew. So it just goes on and on. It just keeps like this, keeps morphing and getting bigger and just so cool. And so let's get this right. TJ bought a home. TJ had the destination wedding of him and his wife's dreams. Okay. TJ just bought a Tesla. Now, that's not why I got one. Oh, can I say that, Tish? I'm getting a Tesla. And so, but it was smart business. They did the big rebate, $12,500 off. And if you qualify, you get another $7,500 in a tax credit. I've wanted a Tesla since, before the pandemic. We have more Teslas here in California than anywhere. We're big on EV. We're big on that whole thing. And when we cross our T's and dot our I's, I'm going to save $400 a year on insurance. Gas, I'm going to save several $1,000s on gas over the year, right? And so on and on and on. And we'll see how much of the car we can write off on the business, Tish. We'll look at that too, right? So when I see that and I read things like that, that's when I know I'm doing good work. So I'm here to share with you. Your team is not your enemy. And you have to really allow yourself to be vulnerable. And you have to make that commitment to serving your team if it means, and somebody laughed at me and hold that thought. Somebody laughed at me. It was in 2004, somewhere in there. My friends who worked 9 to 5. I hired an office manager because it allowed me to teach more. And I was the only teacher I had. So I needed to teach more and I was burning out. I took a credit card with $50,000 on it. And I said to this person, what were you making? They were making 45. I'm going to pay you. And just so you know, you can guarantee we can pay you for at least a year while we grow this business. I will put all of it on this $50,000 credit card. Okay. So that gave her the confidence to come to work for us as a small business, right? Here's some small little ass karate school. What the hell? Right? That's not stable. I don't want to work there, blah, blah, blah. And we did a SEP IRA too. So a SEP is different, but we did a SEP at the time. So because she was used to that. She needed that 401 and she got medical with her husband. So we were able to negate that. Okay. And we gave her vacation with pay. But the reason people were laughing at me was my discipline at the time was I paid myself $3,000 a month. So I made $36,000 that year. And everybody's going, what? You're paying somebody more than you and you own the company? See, that's ego. Taking that credit card and paying this woman what she's worth was smart. Smart. And why do I share all of this strategic, heartfelt information with you? You want to know why? Because I would guarantee every one of you have had several seconds in your school at different times. And because you did not grow that school like you should to bring them in and sustain them, and you did not take care of them, they left. Come on, take ownership. How many you can say you've had at least one of those? At least one of those in your career so far. So, even though in 2020 I took a $540,000 hit, we got all the bills paid. My family was fine. That is what I needed to do as an entrepreneur, because I also saw with the great resignation going on all over the place, people quitting, not wanting to work because the government's feeding them, right? With the great resignation, that if my guys were going to make a career change, that was the time to do it. You with me? You with me? Now, the pendulum has swung the other way, right? Unemployment, even though it's still at an all-time low, there's more and more people getting laid off, left and right. And it's starting to trickle into other industries. That's a whole nother show. But the recession is coming, and it's coming hard. I do a lot in the stock market and I witness it. The stock market is a strong indication of that, but nobody looks at it because a lot of people aren't in the stock market. Okay. So I study that. I study the news, and every indication saying we're coming hard into a recession. So have 6 months of expenses, rent, the whole 9 yards, blah, blah, blah. Save for a rainy day. What does it say? Okay. And yeah, so on the Kids Love Life Skills side, Ben, Letitia's husband, handles all the warehouse stuff, packing, shipping. He does our social media posts. He rocks it, right? We got Amy and Marco. They're a family, right? Chris is part of the family too. But the kids work. They pack the badges. They do those different things. I'm huge on that. That's the way I roll. That's what I do. And anybody who works with me becomes my family, whether they're blood or not, because blood is not just blood. You with me? Sorry about that. So questions, put them in. Who is that? I would not be where I am today without you, sir. Who is that? Continuing to take care of my second. Oh, thank you, Hazel and Paul. I love you guys. I miss you every day. I love you guys. I just wish we could do something else together. I watch the kids. I'm great. How many colleges did your boy get into? 2 or 3? So I watch stuff at a distance. But I'm so grateful for you guys. Continuing to take care of my second. He is my partner in the business now, and we are moving to make it happen on paper too. And that's a big one. You guys, and who put that one in there? Who put that one in there? I used to sing this song, and that's why I told you about the office manager. I took the $50,000 credit card, and we're almost out of time, 10 more minutes. So, and so with that, we will often say to a team member, right, that when we get to X number of students, then I will pay you more. And I've even given this advice to my clients. When we get to this level, you will get this pay. When we get to this level, you get to this pay. I say it should be the other way around. Because if I have you working full-time, giving 150%, you will help me get to those numbers. So it should be the other way around. I should be paying you that amount of money, and I'll make that profit when we're up around 200 students. You follow me? So what we do is we'll say that, well, we're only at 100 students. I can't afford to pay you, blah, 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 blah. But when we get to 150, then I'll pay you this. When we get to 200, I'll pay you this. When we get to 250, I'll pay you this. That's ass backwards. I know. I used to say that, right? And I'm telling you otherwise. Do it the other way around. Lock in that person. Show them what they're worth. Wine and dine them. Love, love, love them. Give them everything you can. And you'll make it on the back end. Like I said, I went down to 160 in 2020. I'm back up to 550, and who knows what I'll do in 2023. Okay? So be extremely mindful of that. I think it's smart business. Invest in your people now, not when it's too late, right? Don't wait until it's too late and they're heading out the door, opening up down the road 10 miles. Take care of it now. Cool? All right. Questions. Put them in. Put them in. Put them in. Jason. There you are, sir. Yeah, and I'm willing to do that. I'll take a loan. I'll do whatever it takes to take care of my people. And to hear TJ say that to me, and ask Letitia, it wasn't always that way. Sifu Bender, I didn't mention Sifu Bender, who's, full time with us, who's locked in. I believe he's locked in. There was a time that boy would have to come to us every freaking year. And he'd say, "Hey, sir, I've been doing it for a while. Can I get a raise?" It's an ugly conversation. It's not a conversation I'd like. Because the big thing we now have in place, which is something new, every year we do a 5% cost of living raise. Because every year, the dollar they made the previous year is not worth the same. You should not give people raises, cost of living raises based upon their performance. It's BS. Right? The dollar you made 12 months ago is not worth the same dollar today. Rent's gone up, food's gone up, gas has gone up. So that dollar you made a year ago is not cutting it. So at the minimum, you should have a cost of living raise put in there, right? Performance review, bullshit. Performance reviews are every day, all the time, real time, in conversation, connecting, talking between classes. That's when you do performance reviews. That's just you're sitting there with your ass on the chopping block. Oh man, I might not get this raise because of my performance. You watch it every year. The last 2 months everybody tightens up and does really, really well because they want to make that performance review. They want to get that bonus. They want to get that raise. That's transitional. I want them to perform day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out. To do that, you need to take care of them from day one. You need to show them how special they are. You need to show them that you want them there forever, forever, ever, forever, ever. Does it happen in a day? The whole farmer mentality. Everybody knows me and the farmer mentality. I roll to till the ground. I plant seeds. Do I have fruit? No. Sapling sprouts up. Do I have fruit? No. It comes into a young tree. Do I have fruit? No. You have to wait, what, 4 to 7 years to have a walnut tree to maturation? That's what I did with TJ. You follow me? When he was that little kid and I wined and dined and told him the stories of what we're making, where we're going to, what I can do if he'd just give me the chance. I wined and dined that relationship and nurtured it and invested in it from the time he was 11 until he made that choice at 21, 22. And I continue to nurture that relationship to this day. To where I see a comment like that from TJ, it warms my heart because there was a time I felt like it was me against them and nothing I did was good enough. And poor me, I'm the victim. It's them against me. I'm Big Brother. I'm the establishment. That will kill your culture. You want to kill your freaking culture? Kill it. But it's also staying in tune with what's going on in their life, what they need, what's going on. All those things are very, very important. And you got to do what you say you're going to do. You with me? All right. You have any questions? Put them in there while I'm waiting for the questions. Oh, yeah. That's another thing we did, huh, Letitia? A couple of my guys were burning out their computers through the pandemic. We bought both of them MacBooks. Absolutely. Yep. All that thing, because if you truly believe that you can do it alone, you're crazy. And I've seen that happen. I've watched these guys grow up to 4 or 5 schools, and then everybody leaves because you're an asshole. That's it. You're an asshole. And then there you are, back to square one. How many times have you grown a team, got a little head of steam behind you, only to not pay attention and then find yourself back to square one? Anybody? Where you're back to teaching full time, the team's depleted, and you're scratching your head going, what the hell happened? Anybody been there? Put that one in. Put that in. So, what do we got coming up? I hope you shared this. Did you share this with everybody so we can put you into the drawing? Marco, what do they need to be in the drawing for the ticket? Anything? Put it in the comments. So, we're going to draw a ticket in a minute for It's Time Live Boston. I just, want to say thank you to my sponsors, all of them, my studio, Market Muscles, now to do their products have glitches sometimes, right? But that's part of growth. There is not a perfect relationship. The only thing perfect is our desire to invest in it, right? The genuine need to be part of that relationship. That's what I'm discussing with you. And everybody I work with, whether it's Letitia at LC Accounting, whether it's the whole gang at Kids Love Life Skill, whether it's Steven Reinstein and his crew at Market Muscles, whether it's Lynette, Steve, Kevin, everybody at my studio, or Gunny and his family at Tucson, these are people I believe in. Do I think they're always going to get it right? No. I've sat there and taken it on the chin, right, when they didn't do things well. But that's life, man. And that's what bothers me. Don't think as you pay somebody money that you're allowed to step on them. We've experienced that in our business, right? Someone's paying us to teach their kid. And they talk to us like, we're dirt. Don't be that person ever. Decide that this relationship is valuable and you're going to invest in it time and time again. So if you're not a Market Muscles client, you need to be. If you're not a My Studio client, I believe you need to be. If you don't have our life skills program with Kids Love Life Skills, get on it. Talk to Letitia, talk to Marco, make that happen. And if you need a great bookkeeper, talk to Letitia. And of course, now with Tucson, I know we can move uniforms right now. We just worked with Determined Martial Arts. We did a huge order for them. I rebranded them to Determined Martial Arts. They're getting their everything through Tucson. So it's cool. It's a new day. It's a new day. And that's my commitment to you. That is. So where are we going to be on April 23rd? It's Time Live Boston. Who's going to be there? Who's going to be there? I saw someone sign up today. Justin Wilkinson. I'm not sure who that is. But the signups are starting to come in, right? Book it now. Book it now. Book it now. We also have It's Time Live Balance in August, 12th through the 15th. 4 days with me. It's a retreat. It's unlike anything in our industry. Unlike anything. We eat good. We cry together. We go deep. We find out why we're stuck. We cover the standard business stuff, content, storytelling, systems, curriculum, the whole 9 yards. And for the people who come again and again and again, it's a tune-up for them. Every year they want to come again to just shift that mindset, to get to a little higher understanding of how to write systems and all the rest. But it really offers you the components that will allow you to be a successful small business owner and entrepreneur. And that's It's Time Live Balance. Put that one up there too, Marco. Cool. Yeah, there it is. Dun, 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 dun. All right, flash up Boston. Okay, so let's draw this, Marco. We have a winner for the one-day ticket to It's Time Live Boston. I hope you decide to choose to use it. I know Bob won 1 week and he's coming out, and that's super cool. Nick Rollins is coming out. He won, and Courtney was grateful for that. She's part of our wisdom program. And so we're going to choose a winner, Marco. Drum roll. Who's the winner today, sir? No winner yet. No winner yet. We have no winner yet. Marco just said, no winner yet. Okay, so you can draw it after the fact, buddy. We have no shares. Nobody shared this? Man, what's up with that? Oh, Jason shared it. Who else shared it? Share, share, share. Because sharing is caring, right? Everybody share this. What's going on? All right. So get all those shares in there, okay, Marco? Get them in, get them in, get them in, get them in. And then lastly, there's nothing that will ever, ever not help grow your business when you are kind to people, when you are empathetic with people. Looks like we may not have a winner. That's okay. If that happens, sir. That's okay. We're all good. We're all good. Marco will look back at this after. And I can't express that enough. The quality of my life is because I've been very blessed to do the things I love, whether it was a music career, whether it was, thank you, Adam. Adam's all the way in the UK. My music career, my other company, my DJ company, and now with the companies that I have, it's time. Consulting, Kids Love Life Skills, One Martial Arts. I am so blessed to hang around people I love because you're going to go through trials and tribulations. We're going to go through death. We're going to go through medical suffering. We're going to go through financial, challenges. That's all part of life. But if you do it with people you love, people you trust, people you can lean on, the potential's there. But do you have the vision to recognize these people to where you can say with vulnerability and transparency that, you know what? I need you and you're valuable to what we do. And I don't want to lose you. What is it going to take? Right? Like any relationship of value, you would say that to your significant other, correct? Right? So it's the same thing here, right? It's the same thing here. Oh, my Alexa has picked Alyssa Farrell. Is that right? Okay, good. Thank you, Alexa. So, Alyssa Farrell, you are the winner. Alyssa Farrell. Maybe you'll come down from Canada, hang out with us at It's Time Live Boston. That'd be super cool, right? And that's it. I mean, I know I'm a big numbers guy. I know my numbers. I know my numbers. I know my numbers. But you know what? Numbers do not equate for love. Numbers do not equate for loyalty. That's why AI, as much as it has all that data, cannot love. It cannot quantify the value of loyalty, right? Other than some binary number that's fed to it. And that for me is why I will go to bat for my team. That is why my team, the average tenure has been with us 13 years and will continue to cultivate that. Remember that last scene in Jerry Maguire where Cuba Gooding and Jerry Maguire's hugging and all the photographers are taking pictures? Then the sports agent, leans over and tries to hug Troy Aikman and he hits him like this, right? Get off me, right? Because that's false. That's simply because I want to make money off of you. But when you genuinely love people, like that's why I love Jerry Maguire. It's a feel-good movie. If you get a chance, watch it. You know, Jerry Maguire really gives that, gives that. And I can't express that enough. Cool. All right. Again, thank you to my sponsors, Market Muscles, My Studio, Kids Love Life Skills, LC Accounting. Hope to see you guys in Boston. Look for the link. It's there. Or go to brannonbeliso.com and look under events. Get sign up for It's Time Live Boston or It's Time Live Balance. Two great events. That's my only East Coast visit. Then I got one here on the West Coast. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Subscribe to this podcast, Success Never Sleeps Mindful Meditation, all the major podcast platforms. Follow me at Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Join the Disruptor group. For everything else, go to brannonbeliso.com. I'm Brannon Beliso. Until we talk again, you go out there, live your best life.